It's a new name, precious name, new name, Rastafari. It's a new name, precious name, new name, Rastafari. Ese watan name jaga bani terrible amosen ide no like the name. The watan name jaga bani terrible amosen ide no like the name. It's a new name, precious name, new name, Rastafari. It's a new name, precious name, new name, Rastafari. Because we have a long program, you know. So we're going to give you one more chance and then we're going to the program. Alright? Say I am born down colonialism. Child. I am born down colonialism. Burn down in the night, Rastafari. Burn down colonialism. One more. See Rastafari. Without the brutality and tribulation. See Rastafari. See Rastafari. Rastafari Rastafari Dagai Muska Kababila Dagai Muska Kababila Inadia Gidia Inadia Magidia Inadia Magidia Inadia Magidia Let's have a shokala Inadia Inadia Magidia The Babylon Yoga The Babylon Yoga Wow, yeah, wow, The Babylon Yoga Inadia Magidia The Babylon Yoga Donald Trump Yoga Just why Yoga Inadia Magidia The Babylon Yoga Babylon Yoga Babylon Yoga Inadia Magidia Let your rise and all his enemies scatter. All who fight against Haile Selassie, I free that and mix it don't go too far, please. As rocks melt before the fire, so let them melt at the presence of fire now. And as smoke is driven away, so let them be driven back. Let the righteous be glad, let them rejoice. All they who put their trust in the higher of his imperial majesty. And I give thanks to an Empress for dear Menen. And I will continue to show freedom, respect, love for our mothers and our aunts and our sisters and our daughters. So without further ado, I want to continue the program flowing. That's a mixing. I wanted to just ask you to come up here and just do your own thing. You know it's Empress and Earth Song. So brethren and sisters put your hands together for Sister Mitzi, Dada Colleen, Sister Caris, and others coming all the way from Kingston to be a part of I. So, Dada Mitzi, this might be unexpected, but I know you have the ability. Ever ready, Rastafari.
Yes, I greetings in the precious and divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I and our beloved Father. And of course, we are here today to honor our beloved Mother, who he chose as his partner, Empress Menen Asfaw. So let's hear it for Empress Menen Asfaw. Yeah, we give thanks, because we are able now, rightfully, to put the Queen in her rightful place. and to put her to sit on her rightful throne and to crown her with honor. You know, we really give thanks for that. Because before we started on this journey of Rastafari, as Rastafari woman, there was no such thing as a Rastafari woman. There was a Rastaman's woman. This is the woman who chose to trod with her brethren, who chose to trod the faith of Rastafari. So we give thanks today because we have so many great examples. Empress Menen being one of the greatest. We trod within a time where our ancients, um, Leonard Howell and others, they taught us about the balance being the Alpha and the Omega, which was good. But when we got to understand more about this woman who was shining such a beautiful light, had children before the king married her, she had children. So whoever would have seen that as an imperfect woman, the king never saw it that way. He saw this woman as worthy of sitting beside him on her throne. So His Imperial Majesty broke tradition in 1930 and he crowned the Queen. Not the following day, as tradition had held, but just hours after. Empress Menen Asfaw received her royal crown, sat on her throne with her king, and became the Empress and the mother of the Ethiopian nation. You know, I went to Ethiopia in 2017, and when the Derg took over, when they removed Haile Selassie from his throne, an attempt was made throughout Ethiopia, and they were very successful in many ways to totally erase, even from memory, what the Ethiopian imperial throne, the Lion of Judah, what he stood for. The Derg made every effort not only to kill people who followed him and to send his family in exile, but to ensure that all remnants of everything that that regime and that era stood for was erased from Ethiopian history. But you can't kill Emperor Haile Selassie I, and you can't kill that royal Ethiopian throne. So today we stand with full authority. I must give thanks. You know, I have a sister in Ethiopia. Her name is Dr. Desta. Desta is one of those warrior queens that I've known for decades, who embarked on something, on an exhibition called The Majesty and the Movement in Ethiopia. I can't remember what year it was. But Mama Desta decided that she was going to be courageous enough to revive this history, not only to talk about, but in the form of an exhibition, bringing forward to memory to the children of Ethiopia, for the elders of Ethiopia who were longing. Because no matter what them tell you in the news or documented, the elders of Ethiopia knew what His Majesty stood for. They called him Ababa Janoi. Janoi was their father, which that's what Janoi means. When I went to Ethiopia, I met so many people, elders. There was, you see, we celebrate Martyrs' Day. There's a Patriot Society in Ethiopia that His Majesty is still listed as the chairman of that, because His Majesty stood for that. The patriots who stood for the preservation of the sovereignty of Ethiopia and the dignity of Ethiopian people. His Majesty says their names must not be forgotten. So they don't forget him over there. So Mama Desta took it on herself to present the Majesty and the movement. The movement is the Rastafari movement, which was called in his name Rastafari. I want to give Mama Desta a round of applause because many times, honestly, and without prejudice and with full respect, many times it's the women in their courage and their fearlessness. Because many times them don't think we can do it, But she's not one of those who we can question. Mother Moses, you know that. Well, you can check that stuff. So we give thanks for these women who step in their full authority of what Empress Title stood for, one of the greatest queens of Ethiopia, who stood by her husband on the battlefield to ensure that the Battle of Adwa was won and that the dignity and the sovereignty of Ethiopia, the land that was never conquered. I could give Ethiopia a round of applause because, yes, the Ethiopian people have done everything to ensure that they preserve their history and they preserve everything that Ethiopia stands for. Empress Menen stood as an example. I was saying earlier, when I went to Ethiopia, I noticed restaurants have her picture on it. And I would ask the Ethiopians, and they say, "Oh, Mama, she was one of the best chefs. Like in the court, she would lead the kitchen. So when you want to show, say, a restaurant are going with things, you put Empress Menen's thing to say, well, this is the quality of food. But Empress Menen, I also got to go to the school that she started there because Empress Menen had 4 children. She came up in a time where marriage and having children at a certain age was not taboo in Ethiopia. So she had children very early. The king took her as his queen, but she stood for preserving the lives of Ethiopian girls, especially in a certain way. She didn't want them to be drawn into adult life from too early. So her effort was to ensure that they were able to go to school, not just to get an education, but to earn some kind of, to acquire some kind of skill, to empower them and to make them not feel inferior to the boys of Ethiopia. So Empress Menen was really able to set that foundation in Ethiopia as far as Ethiopian children, girls especially, are concerned. She set up the Empress Menen School for Girls in Ethiopia. I was able to visit it, but it's not named in her honor anymore. But as we say, you can't remove certain history. But something about Empress Menen that is a great example to me. There's a lot about her as a person, as a woman, her dignity, her grace, her beauty, her humility, her love, her kindness. Empress Menen is known in Ethiopia for her kindness. She ensured that the poor was fed. You know our creed? The hungry be fed, the naked clothed, the sick nourished, the aged protected, and the infants cared for. That sums up the service that Empress Menen Asfaw gave to the people of Ethiopia. So when we celebrate her, we don't just celebrate because sometimes we have a way, even with the king, we have a way to celebrate people, put them on a shelf, put them in a picture on the wall. But there is so much about their lives, the way they live their lives as Ethiopians, that we have to read and overstand and see as an example to us. I want the sisters here, the queens, the empresses, the princesses, the women that see themselves, especially as Africans, to see Empress Menen as one of our highest examples. So we will always celebrate her. Yes, she is one of our guiding lights as a woman. You know, when we say the Rastafari woman, we have a thing called the Rastafari woman dress code. Our dress code is a peculiar dress code, and it's probably not any different from African women, but it is all about us declaring to ourselves and to the world that we do not have to accept a Eurocentric standard of beauty. So, yeah, man. So we embrace our natural beauty and our natural expression. When we look at Empress Menen, you see grace, you see beauty, yet she's not exposed. She's well covered, but you see beauty same way. We recognize the beauty that Haile Selassie found in her. The Empress said there was at no time at all that something happened between the two of them and they ever had to bring it to a third party for resolution because they always found a way. There is a speech I want to read now because with everything that's going on in the world today, we are now the world is now embroiled, whether we feel like we are touched by it or not, but there is war going on. There are children being killed. There are mothers and fathers, innocent people being killed in this war because the warmongers, them can't stand peace. First of all, peace does not preserve their economies. It does not preserve their world status. Whether we believe it or not, it's war that these economies thrive on. So I really want to read a speech from Empress Menen because when the Italians invaded her country, Empress Menen asked her daughter Sahai to speak on her behalf, not to the women of Ethiopia, but to all the women of the world, including the Italian women, that war is no good for anyone at all. So, put on glasses, when hold on there. I need my eyes. I'm not sure if this is the right speech, but it looked like it. Empress Menen gave a speech to the World Women's Association, reasoning with them on the aggression of Italy. Yeah, because she realized that it's not like the people of Ethiopia would not fight, but she knew that her husband was getting ready to go into exile to preserve himself and to preserve the crown of Ethiopia. So she said, I'm pleased to present my speech to all world women. When Italy viciously and unjustly attacked our people and country, the World Women Association supported us to settle in a positive way. We're very happy to express our deep feelings for the association. It's not the speech I want, but I'm going to see how relevant it is. When I'm speaking now, in order to be understood by all countries, my daughter Princess Sahai is translating my speech into English. Even though world women are living in different countries with different climates, all women are interrelated with the same will and objectives. War is distress and trouble of the distress and trouble of mankind. Although world women are in different countries with different races and religions, the act of war has victimized their husbands, brothers, sons. War is a destruction of the family and all living creatures. So, as women, we stand against war. We know that all Italian mothers may worry about the war, since war is good for nothing. Therefore, all women found in the world should prevent the war before it brings trouble and distress. They should collaborate their voice and requests to avoid the war before the bloodshed comes on both sides, because no one will escape when there is war. Ethiopia does not want violence to solve conflicts. Her wish is to maintain harmony. Ethiopia tried to settle the conflict harmoniously in the early months. In every aspect, Ethiopia has done her best, so we are mentally and spiritually free. Ethiopian people welcome any foreign guests who come to work diligently and innocently. Ethiopian people have a natural hospitality to foreigners, which has been narrated throughout the history of the world. However, one state, which is a neighbor to Ethiopia, is trying to conquer and govern her. We see that today, don't it? Where you have some people who believe that them have the right to step into somebody else's country, kill them leader, and decide what the future of that country is going to be. wickedness, fire burn. Yes. However, one state, which is a neighbor to Ethiopia, is trying to conquer and govern her. Ethiopia is always on the line of unity, while the rival state is looking out only in its own interests. The enemy deployed its army and blasted around our country to kill our women's husbands, brothers, and children. All right. Yeah, I think I finish. All women of the world should struggle to bring harmony and justice. So that's really the message. And we really want women, whoever you are. You don't have to be Rastafari to side with me for truths and rights. I don't have to be from Uganda to side with Ugandan people. If African people, if freedom loving, righteous people of the world bring their voices together against things like war, inequality, injustice, we mustn't compromise. And His Majesty said, it's the silence of the voice of justice that will make it possible for evil to triumph. So I realize that even as our community, our voice was much louder, as in we used to stand up more. Not you, Russ Ivy? We used to be out there on the front line to defend truths and rights. Not you, Bongara? Nothing put one, hear Rastafari voice. And I'm saying we get a little bit too silent. We have to make sure that our voice does not go mute. Because we were the conscience of the African people here in Jamaica to ensure that injustice was always talked about and pointed out. The Rastaman. So we give thanks, Empress Menen Day. We're happy to be here. As Ras Ivy said, we're coming all the way from Kingston, and it's really a joy. So we invite, yes, Empress Menen Month, that's my sister, Queen Mother Moses. So we say give thanks and Isis to enjoy the rest of the moment, kings and queens, sons and daughters. Rastafari, give thanks.
I don't hear anything that I can say. I want it big, broad, and loud. Big, broad, and loud, Now, again, I say welcome to all those who are coming amongst us tonight for the first time. Madam Moses made mention of Ethiopia, Sister Nixie made mention of Ethiopia. Ethiopia being the only country on the African continent that was never colonized, never conquered, neither by Islam nor by European Christians. So we look at Ethiopia not just from a historical point of view, but also from a biblical, anthropological, archaeological point of view. Because the oldest bones ever to be found in the world were found right here in Ethiopia. If you look at your Bible, Genesis 2, the second chapter, the talk about the Garden of Eden and the 4 rivers. If you look in Numbers 12, you see tell you about the Ethiopian woman that Moses married. Not that they were different race, they were just different nationality. So these are things that we have to understand from a biblical point of view. If you look at Amos 9, verse 7, it says, O ye children of Israel, are ye not like unto the Ethiopians unto I? Psalm 68, verse 31, princes shall come out of Egypt, and Ethiopia shall stretch forth her hand unto God. Just few of the passages in the Bible that talk about Ethiopia. Right? So we don't only talk about Ethiopia because we have more to talk. We talk about Ethiopia because Ethiopia is the foundation of creation, is the cradle of mankind, and is the cradle of civilization. Islam come and choose Mecca, fine, that's great thing. But I and I come and choose Ethiopia. Ethiop meaning people with dark faces. No, there are two brothers here, and they're claiming that to go back to wherever they are coming from. Wanted the program to roll just strictly on Empress Menen. We want to give them a few minutes because they want to leave and give thanks for having them here. So put your hands together for the brothers. Rastafari. You have 5 minutes.
Tenestilan and I people of African descent. Now we are from the Kingdom of Deverzit grassroots human rights movement. And since 2024, we have approached the military and was in dialogue with Captain Baker, and we were talking about the violation of our human rights as a cultural family. Captain Baker said to us, how comes the indigenous people are not involved in this movement to claim their political sovereignty? Now we established an argument of fear because it was the military. And the captain himself said that the people have no fear to approach the military, as the military is an arbitrary tribunal for human rights violation within our country. We have approached the Ministry of National Security 3 times last year, and up to now, we have not received any type of dialogue from Mr. Chang. Now, on the 13th of April this year, we will be approaching the military once again, as we have sent forth criminal charges of genocide to the Ministry of National Security and also the United Nations in Belgium to charge the British imposter for the deprivation of rights of our cultural families and our indigenous people. We are seeking our people to exercise their international human birthright to life under Article 3 of the Declaration of Human Rights, which clearly states that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of person. There is a 1960 1514 resolution that has been ratified at the United Nations, and this document was presented by His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie. It is called the Granting of Independence to all colonial countries and people freely, meaning if the heads of state did not want to adopt to this resolution, then the people themselves can express themselves under this resolution. That is why Leonard Howell should say, expresses himself as a Rastafari with a cultural identity to which we must maintain physically in this time. Because a physical identity of our cultural self will separate us from the jurisdiction of the colonial masters. It is important that the Rastafari family, as one of the indigenous group on the island, participate in this cultural movement for these genocide charges against the British imposter. Under international law, the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 21.3, it states, the will of the people shall be the basis authority of all government. On September the 8th, 2022, King Charles became sovereign king over the 56th Commonwealth Realms nation, which is a violation of all our rights within the Caribbean region. For we did not express such will that we need a British imposter to be our head of state. Cultural and economical deprivation is serious charge, and we must stand in this time in a collective body to say no more to colonialism. Article 1 of the 1960 1514 resolution states, the subjection of people to alien subjugation, domination, and exploitation constitute a denial of fundamental human rights. We cannot deny the fact that our people are heavily exploited and being dominated by British colonialism. If we want to liberate ourselves, we have to speak out. Justice will never come sitting in our lap. We have to demand it. Justice means just action. So on April the 13th, I'm asking the cultural family to join us at 11 a.m. by the JDF headquarters, 5 South Camp Road.
Right, left.
We give thanks.
Right, look. Salute.
Telestallic greetings, my divine indigenous brothers and sisters. Give thanks for Empress Menen Asfaw and His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie. So, as we all know, my name is Rastafari with Selassie. From the kingdom of Debussy, give thanks to Rastafari with Selassie. So, our human rights ambassador, as we know, we are going on to the military because we are seeking to an effective diplomatic remedy under Article 8 of the UDHR Charter. So we're just asking our indigenous people, please, to put our difference aside because you see at the start, the colonial constitution couldn't protect our indigenous people. You know why? Because it doesn't see the indigenous people as human, see them as a stock. So therefore, that's a violation of Article 4 of the UDHR Charter. So please, we can overcome together because everyone has a right to take part in the government of this country. So we're just asking our brothers and sisters, please, because you see, the funny thing about this Jamaican constitution, I'm sending it on His Imperial Majesty birthday, 23rd of July 1962. So basically, why the people would need two independence when we're already free to the United Nations to the 1960s. So that's one of the resolution and revelation that we're showing to our brothers and sisters. So as the law said, inadequacy of political, economic, social, or educational preparedness should never serve as a pretext for delaying independence. So even if we're not ready, we're not prepared, the Most High Creator set us free. So let us free ourselves. One perfect Lord. Thank you.
Yes, so the fight takes place in different ways, different forms. And we welcome all the youth because I came up as youth, acknowledging that the system was wrong. Even if we never know what was right at the time, we know that the system was wrong. And through genuine search for truth, we came upon Rastafari, Haile Selassie, Ethiopia, Africa. So black man, where you coming from? Cause I am Ethiopian, then where you coming from? And you will know where you really belong, and know where you coming from. Yes, I want to say to my sisters and my brothers who support the performance tonight. I know Sister Salma is here, I know Sister Charmaine, and I know Sister Boom Dan is here. I know the nigga is here, I don't know. But we're to start. But I'm going to just call on one of my sisters, like Sister Salma, Sister Charmaine, could they them put their themselves near. And then we still have Mother Moses to come and put an icing on what she was presenting. All about and I Empress was there. And again, I say I give thanks because, you know, many a time we gather in our Birmingham with us chant. We don't really take time out all the time to have reasoning, discussion, education program. And they say if you want to hide something from black people, you do what? You put it in a book, yet I and I ancestors are the originators of, of everything in reading and writing, astrology, astronomy, all of those things. So how come now all of a sudden if you want to hide something from black people, you put in a book? So we're not reading, we don't read, we have to start reading. Even if we never done read, we have to start reading. So Sister Simon, Sister Charmaine, can you hear them come up near? And that I'm into it, you know. There is an event coming up starting on the 21st of April to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the visit of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie, not only to Jamaica, but to the Caribbean, because Haile Selassie did not only come to Jamaica, came to Trinidad, went to Barbados, came to Jamaica, and left for Haiti. So that is going to give you a rundown. We have Sister Colleen here. We have Sister Caris, who's a part of the team, working. So that's it. Sister Colleen, you want Sister Colleen and Caris?
No, I'm going to just do this quickly so we can just go into the program. All right, so as Ras Avi said, we are now literally on the eve of the 60th anniversary of Emperor Haile Selassie's visit to Jamaica. This happened 1966. As he said, it was not only a visit to Jamaica but to the Caribbean. So he landed in Trinidad on the 18th. He left there on the 21st, made a very short impromptu stop in Barbados. It wasn't a part of a state visit because at the time Barbados was still under what they call colonial rule. So they couldn't have had a state visit with an emperor. But the Barbadian people insisted that they could not be left out of such a very important occasion. So he made a short stop, like 2 hours, on his way to Jamaica. So His Majesty landed in Jamaica on the 21st of April, spent 3 days, three full days basically, and then left for Haiti on the morning of the 24th. So this year, we had a very grand, Dr. Michael Barnett is also here. We have now created an organizing committee to ensure that at least for the 21st, which would celebrate His Majesty's arrival in Jamaica, that we really have a grand event. So, as usual, Naya Bingi would start in Montego Bay. So that's where we're going to have firelight. The firelight is going to be on the night of April 20, that's Monday night. And then for all those who are in rural Jamaica, we're going to be motorcading. We do this already, Simba, don't we? We know about motorcade. Yeah. So we're going to be motorcading to Kingston to resume one of our pilgrimages to the airport, the Norman Manley International Airport, which was the Palisados Airport at the time. So we're going to be going to the airport to have a kind of ceremonial togetherness. You know, in 2016, as I said, what happened was that His Majesty's grandson, Prince Ermias Saleh Selassie, was here, and the celebrations were kind of focused on his visit, which was very similar to what happened when the king came in 1966. We don't have a special guest. We are all the special guests of this event. We don't have a special guest coming in. So the 21st, as I said, we're going to the airport with motorcade, and then we're going to go to Haile Selassie High School, which was a gift from His Majesty and the people of Ethiopia to the people and government of Jamaica when he came in 1966. He broke ground, gave the money to the government to build a school. So we have that school as a legacy of the visit. So we're going to go to Haile Selassie High School at Payne Avenue, and then we're going to take a route. When His Majesty came, on the days that he was here, there were many important events and stops. One of them was the Parliament at Duke Street, where he spoke to both houses of Parliament. That was like a historic occasion. He also visited Marcus Garvey's shrine at the Heroes Circle. He stopped at educational institutions like Michael Teachers College, Jamaica College, CAST, which is UTEC now, and University of the West Indies, where he was awarded an honorary doctorate of laws. So we're not going to be doing all of that this year. So we're going to take a route from the school that will take us past King's House, which was his residence, the residence of the Governor General, Sir Clifford Campbell at the time, but that's where the king stayed. It's the king's house. That is the only place he could have stayed. He's the only king who ever stayed in a king's house there. So, yes, so we're going to pass that. That is a symbolic moment. And then we're going to the Louis Bennett Garden Theatre. That is the Ronnie Williams Center location. It's beside Jamaica House and between Police Officers Club. But we're going to Ronnie Williams slash Louis Bennett Garden Center for a day of activities. Now, this day of activities is really to honor who we are as Rastafari sons and daughters, and will help us to kind of trace a journey of ourselves, of our movement, of our culture, and our liberty from before the king come to when the king came. And when the king came in 1966, it was a big thing for I and I. We became from the downtrodden people of this society to the unconquerable Rastafari of this country. Yeah, it's not joke. For that moment, Rastafari were able to rise in them stature. Them father was coming, and when he came, he never ignored them. Although people were saying the little dirty Rasta them, this little outcast them, the dregs of the earth them call them, the South Sea cannibals them compare us to. But the king said, and his Hector Winter, who was a journalist at the time, told us that he requested their presence. He had known Douglas Mack, Fillmore Alvaranga, Sam Clayton, and Ras Mortimer Planner from their visits to Ethiopia prior to his coming here. So he was familiar with them when they came. Mortimer Planner was the person who was called by the police to quell the crowd at the airport because they couldn't get the king to alight the aircraft. So yeah, we have a lot to celebrate, we have a lot to remember, and we have a lot to look forward to as a people. So I really want to tell you about the 21st because I want all of us to come out and make our presence felt. We're going to be having it's not a focus on a stage show, but there's so much more to I and I as a people and as a nation of Rastafari. So we're going to be presenting ourselves to whoever comes to observe us on that day and to ourselves as well. So our liberty, our culture, and everything about us is going to be on display. So we're always asking for our presence with our best behavior. So yeah, you're going to hear a little bit more. And this is just like an announcement for the first time. So what we're going to do, which is the first time we've ever done this, is that we're going to assemble at Ronnie Williams and Louis Bennett Garden Theatre to have a full day of events, and we're going to chant ISIS right there. So we're going to set up our Nabingi space with our fire and everything. So we don't have to be going forward to the country on that night. We're going to set up ourselves in that space. We can bring our tent. If you have a cot to rest on, we are going to create the spaces where one can rest. I think there are suitable amenities there for us to feel. It's a safe space for you to feel comfortable. And then we travel the following morning to come forward to Montego Bay to continue the ISIS in Montego Bay. Now, His Majesty also came to Montego Bay. He went by train and took stops, Spanish Town, Clarendon, Denby, it's Clarendon, right? And then Margaret St. Elizabeth, and can't remember the next place.
Williamsfield,
And Montpellier.
and Montpellier.
And then went into what was then Charles Square. Now, this visit was unprecedented in terms of impact. They have never known anybody who testify, whether it's politicians, police, or ordinary people who testify about this visit. Because this was the second, in April, was the second, what them call royal state visit in Jamaica for the year. The monarch from England was here in the February before the king came. Never before. It was unprecedented, and that visit is still unparalleled as far as impact in the whole of the Caribbean is concerned. Because you never have Rastafari everywhere, but the African people were so excited about seeing this redeemer of the people, the man who preserved the dignity of Ethiopia. They were so happy to have him. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church in Ethiopia was also very happy to have it. So I just want once to know that we are looking forward to a mighty celebration, celebration. So everyone just prepare yourselves to make your way to Kingston for the 21st of April for us to celebrate His Majesty's visit and to shake up Jamaica one more time. Give thanks.
Yes, that's what it is. Oh, what to know, one that sound like I'm tired or them weary or something. Make we hear it, you know? Yes. You know, one time I did a radio program on Hot 102. And when I finished the program, the brethren, with all due respect to the eye, we just asked the eye to make a presentation a while ago because the eye to the eye wanted to move. So we don't want there, to have be having a next reasoning over there different from one another. No disrespect. See? Rastafari. Yeah, when I finished the program, the person who was interviewing him and said, I agree. Rasta is too powerful to be so silent. And that is it with I and I as Rastafari. We're too powerful to be so silent. We're not visible enough in the eyes of the people. And I can show you why. So all these elections that have been running over these years, the last one I run, you know how much percent of the electorate voted? Do you know? What percentage? 37%. There was a time before that, it was 39%. So what the electorate, our people, what they are saying to these politicians is that we're tired of you. 1 million pain, 1 million jail. We're tired of you. But how prepared is I and I as Rastafari in order to help in the governance of I and I people? Let me think about that. Sister Salma is here nearby. So Sister Salma is a daughter. She talks for herself, but she's full of poetry. And she's who she is. She's a writer. So put your hand together again, Sister Salma. Put your hand together for her. I don't know drummers, we don't want to hear them too far from the drums because most one will be working with the drums. Sister Charmian, put yourself up together. Isaac Nigger and Mother Moses, not too far. Rastafari.
Haile, Rastafari, Empress Menen. Greetings in the name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie. Let me hear everyone say, Rastafari. Limited Haile. Okay, I'm not really very prepared for this singing out drums with me, but let me get a chair, okay?
Thank you. Where's the lion here? There's a tamper, where's the fire? There. Just coming around, I'm going to say that. Yeah, I'm going to say traffic jams. Yeah, what the job? People traffic jams. Walk and walk, man. I'm not driving. I'm going to go out, I'm going to go here.
Greetings again. I'm not gonna use my brain. It's tired right now. So I'm gonna make sure that I utter the right words correctly. And looking at this phone. Sister Ensignor, are you in the audience? To be real honest, I left my stuff at the house. So I'm using the phone to keep up with you, alright? Message of the drums. Let me say this. I've been to Africa, East Africa, South Africa, West Africa. There's no other place like Africa. From the Horn of Africa in Ethiopia to the Diamond Caves in South Africa, I seek my home, a place to call my own, with the people who once knew me and called me by name, with the people who once danced with me without shame, without chains, to the rhythm of the ancient drums, forever reminding me to come home to Africa where I belong. The cornerstone in African unity, as stated by His Imperial Majesty. So, Africa, help me to make a fresh start. Africa, please keep a place in your heart to walk away from this world of crimes. Leave the Babylon system and science behind. Where the ultimate in life is to live in ease, killing others with war and disease, to sustain the fabricated reality devoid of love and equality. Let me write my own story. Let me experience the glory of living as a liberated African, blessed with beauty and health, endowed with abundant wealth, with 40% of the world's gold, 65% of the world's diamond, 90% chromium and platinum. Africa is the richest continent that continues to enrich all nations. Let me sing the songs of freedom in the streets of Azania, dance to Juju and High Life in Nigeria, smoke dado with the Zulu in South Africa, jump to the sky with the Maasai in Kenya, eat shawabuli with the breakfast in Gambia, reason with the Bifor Rastas in Senegal, walk through the pyramids of Giza in Egypt, see the 24 trillion minerals in the Congo, join with the Liberation Army in Burkina Faso, play and pick the children in Ghana, chew cat and pray with the Abba in Ethiopia. They took me and enslaved me. Then in Jamaica they tried to remake me, but realized they couldn't break me. So now they despise and hate me. They conquered and oppressed you, confined you in Africa to homelands, confined you in Africa to homelands, to institute their devious plans. You see, it happened to all Africans, regardless of where we were from. The fact is, to this land, Africa, we all belong. Regardless of your birthplace, that will not change your race. Disregard the history taught in school. You were born free and born to rule. They extracted some of the best of Africa, their people, minerals and precious minerals and animals. So whether you have hair like the Indian, eyes like the Chinese or the European, that black skin validates you are an African, the ancient one from the motherland, Al Kebalan, Africa, mother of creation. We survive, Jamaica, we rise. Rain exploding like destructive weapons, erupting in the skies across the heavens, street engulfed with muddy waters and raging rivers, disrupting and changing the landscape forever. Their alarm was out, but the devastation was preposterous. No one knew or could anticipate how dangerous 252 miles hour per wind. It didn't matter if you had wings and land and in the ocean, Melissa would destroy everything. Oh, Jah, we survive. Jamaica, we rise. Them say it was a man-made hurricane. It was not Mother Nature. That's why it was so insane. Jamaica was a target to eliminate and dominate, making it easy for them to regulate. Doors fall off hinges while zinc fly high and low. Madman plunges while government lose control. Unprepared for emergency, expose their lack of security, leaving no doubt the people is not their priority. Oh, Jah, we survive, Jamaica, we rise. Melissa skipped and landed with speed that was unrealistic. In no time, the result was heart-racing and horrific. This hurricane, like none other, moved with prejudice. Every poor man's house was demolished. Blessings flow even in a bad situation. The positive awareness and elevation. As families of Queen Nanny and Kojo still in the fight, nothing can break our spirit. No food, no water, no light. Oh Jah, we survive. Jamaica, we rise. A black hen can lay white eggs. Anything is possible. The good comes with the bad. They are inseparable. We will battle the storm together, united arm in arm. With Jah, we will not fall or falter to stand and perform. Earthquake, hurricane, or fire, Jah is the almighty provider. Let it be known at home and abroad. Menen, leave me yard. Oh Jah, we survive. Jamaica, we rise. And Zinger in the crowd, and Zinger, are you here? And Zinger got my poem on the Empress. Okay, I'll do you one more before I can get to the Empress. Jamaica a joke. A long time we are talking about this thing and the healing that marijuana bring. How it grows everywhere in the rock. It needs no lab, no scientists, no doctor. Only help from the sun and the rain. Across Jamaica's beautiful terrain, this plant within leaps and bounds made Jamaica the richest island around. Jamaica a joke. Let me consider for a minute what really is going on this beautiful island Jamaica under the sun. Jamaica has just decriminalized ganja, approved medical marijuana, and the whole world reacts in disbelief. No, it's obvious to the blind, them a liar and thief, as politicians scramble for their piece of the pot, profiting from another man's work, acting like big shot. Jamaica, sure. America switched and declared it was time to end the drug war. Their plot to incriminate the poor crashed on the Wall Street floor. So the CIA rolled the dice and many Jamaicans paid the price. Deported and stripped of their monies, their homes, and their children. Shipped to countries that don't even know them. Broken, exploited, disgraced, and deserted. Fighting a ganja war just trying to make a dime. Growing, selling, or using marijuana shouldn't be a crime. Jamaica a joke. I see we're not as smart as we think, and some will sell us out before you can blink. Because at a time like this with global recession, and a time for squabbling in confusion, when Jamaica money no worth nothing, our economy is suffering. Instead of legalization, exportation, increased production, decriminalization, we are seeing Jamaica a joke. No legalization, no justification, just decriminalization. Children of the slave masters, unable to liberate their minds, operate in a system they can't fix or change with time. Founded on ignorance and greed with no good intention, they continue to spread devastation in all directions. While the people still scoop water out of gullies, somebody is getting rich playing tricks. So I want them a help. I who them a help, not I, Jamaican a joke. Rising from the depths of the sea, Jamaica's adorned with white sand beaches, beautiful ladies with smiling faces, men with lyrics hard to resist, women with moves that make you wish, coconut water, ackee and roast breadfruit, reggae music and Jamaica ganja. This is what makes Jamaica a phenomenon. Jamaica a joke.
From the top again. One, please.
And Zenga, are you here? to come again with my poem on the Empress. I wrote it, but I don't know it by heart. I'll do one more. One. And it's all about Jamaica because I can't find my Ethiopian poem. My sister isn't here. I left it at home. Ode to Jamaica. Jamaica, land of wood and water, cascading mountains and rivers, enriched by the Caribbean Sea, is where you meet eye to eye with butterflies and birds in the tree, where cows and goats roam free in grassy terrain and down the streets, where reggae music is the magic that makes Jamaica so ecstatic. Elevated from the depths of the sea, this island of Jamaica is legendary. Most of the time, it's a good story, producing many beautiful things, creating queens and kings, the world's fastest sprinters, great teachers and leaders, all the way to the White House, Jamaicans can boast. The dogs rule the streets at night, raindrops every morning light, in abundance to bless the earth. There's herbs to heal and food to eat, reggae music with lyrics so sweet. Music for the head, music for the feet, inspires and keep things right. Jamaica is a perfect retreat. This is where life seems so complete. It's a coconut heaven with exotic fruits, vegetables, herbs, spices, and roots. Everything the immune system needs. Irish moss to keep things solid and strong. With raw moon bush, just add the kush. Passion fruit, sour sap and Jew plum. With roots wine, reggae rum, and ackee and saltfish, the national dish. With roast red fruit, will satisfy anyone's wish. Jamaica life of love and high sex drive. Sexy bodies and high sex drive. Rain juice with strong back roots. The body is fit and ready to execute. Procreating daily without debating. Here man as Lord rules as king. With warrior queens ready to win. Cause in Jamaica, man is man, ready to love every woman. Come to Jamaica and when you come, relax and enjoy the dazzling sun. Every party is like a movie premiere. Beautiful people everywhere. Memories that will last forever. Sensations that are rare. People who care. Jamaica is full of love and romance. There's enough work for every man. The Jamaican woman love every Jamaican man. Above the clouds and the blue mountains, to the west are the white sand beaches, glistening waters and falls at Dunn's River, the blue holes, Bath, Mill River, and fire water. They will do miracles to everybody part. Negro and sunset you should never miss. That's where the sun meets the earth with a kiss. Money trees everywhere, not just ganja, to elevate the minds and the hearts of Jamaica. In Jamaica, you're in heaven for a while, mesmerized by everyone's genuine smile, with their colonial English pompous pride. Each day is no worry, no one in a hurry. Reggae music with lyrics whets all appetites, promoting equality with the one love vibe. Despite race, color or creed, straight or bald head, pretty or ugly, fat or skinny, rich or poor, black or white, everyone gets love at night. In, if there is no solution, a Jamaican will make it up because it's no problem. Here I find this unity with Rastafari liberty, where the one love is a reality, promoting love and equality. In this one love land, paradise, people are happy just to be alive. I don't know what's in the air. Life is just much sweeter here. Jamaica, land we love.
Yeah, nice.
The drums of Africa, so familiar. I'm so sorry. I left my poem at Empress, and Sister Nzinga is bringing it back for me, but she's not here. But let me finish with this. I've been to Ethiopia, I've been to Africa, East Africa, West Africa, and South Africa. I haven't been to the north, I passed through. And I'll tell you this about Ethiopia. I've been to Ethiopia twice. I was there for the first time for the Battle of Adwa. And there is no place on earth like Ethiopia. I've been to Asia, I've been to Europe, North America, Canada, South America, and Central America. And there's no place like Africa. The people, there's no people like the Africans. There's no culture like the Africans. And I'm telling you this, Jamaica, everywhere I go in Africa, I am very much received like royalty. I am treated with everything I need. I have never been to Africa and feel like I'm missing anything or need anything. And my message to all of you here in the West, go home to Africa. Go home. You know, I miss nothing else. Okay? All right. Give thanks and praise to the Most High. Ciao.
Yes, Sister Salma. Put your hand together, put your hand together for Sister Salma. You know? Yeah. Full of poetry, you know, and reality. Now, I said before that I am not the moderator, but the moderator is here now, Rastafari, but I just want to say today that mention had
Rastafari. A person that drive a blue AD wagon down there, so him block off a gate, and we don't want him to move it, and him can actually go inside of the space because the place kind of set away. So that like him just whoever drive the blue AD wagon right down there in front of the gate, just come free up that AD wagon there and make kind of flow. Rastafari.
yes, give thanks and goes. Yeah, again, my brothers and sisters, I just want to say to the island that Sister Salma just three of our empresses mentioned Adwa. And in the scramble for Africa, Italy tried to invade Ethiopia in 1896. And they were defeated. Now, 40 years, approximately 40 years after Adwa, Mussolini, the tyrant from Italy, decided that he was going to take revenge for the defeat of the Italians at the hand of the Ethiopians in 1896. And so he invaded, violated international laws and treaties. And you might hear about the great speech of Haile Selassie made at the League of Nations, not the United Nations, because the League was established in 1919 after the end of the First World War. And His Majesty went to Switzerland, to Geneva, and spoke 1936. And he said, today it is Ethiopia, but tomorrow it will be you. May God and history record your judgment here. The match you strike in Africa shall blaze in Europe. Those were the words of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie to the League of Nations 1936. In 1937, the Rhineland was overrun by Germans. Poland was also overrun by Germans. France also was invaded by Germans. The Gauls had to run away also to England. Then they remember the words of His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie, who said, today it is Ethiopia, tomorrow it will be you. World War II broke out. Because of the failure of the League of Nations to defend Ethiopia. Ethiopia was a registered member of the League of Nations. And an article within the Constitution state that anytime any member of the League was unwarranted attack, then the League should come together in defense of the country that was victim of the aggression. At that time it was Ethiopia. But because Ethiopia was a black country, the white countries of Europe would not shed your blood for Ethiopia. His Majesty said, we don't want you to shed your blood. Just give us the means by which we can defend ourselves. Let us remember that, people. Eli, Selassie. We can't forget our history. It is our history that keeps that fire burning inside the fire. And that's why Marcus Garvey said people without a knowledge of their past history and culture is like a tree without a root. When a tree has no root, it do what? It dies. We can't afford to die. Our ancestors have done too much. They have laid the foundation of civilization. I will have to stand. Rastafari. Put your hands together and welcome your side right to the podium. We'll take you through. And you all know you saw I assume, at the color garden yesterday. So again, put your hands together for us. Ivory,
Yes, family, we give thanks, we give thanks, and we are see how we scatter. Everywhere we go, as Rasta we always say, scattering, we now say, coming together. And the same Rasta people, and you see, when we have all our reggae artists, you want to see how the whole of the background come up to the front. And when we have our own thing, we scatter it. We don't like that. In respect to Her Majesty, those who really know man a style in terms of security and all, let me just come close together now. In the name of Her Imperial Majesty Empress Menen Asfaw. Give her a nice round of applause. It's her birthday we are here for. And we have to celebrate the Queen in an islandful way. There are some brethren contending that while we have Bingi when His Majesty Earth Day, and when we have Her Majesty Earth Day, we keep banquets and award ceremonies and all. So it's a question we have to always be answering with our global family. Yeah, we started this way back in 2001 when in Jamrock we launched the first Empress Day celebration in the town of Menen. And we decided that we would use Her Majesty's Day, she being a great philanthropist who had done so much work for Ethiopia, later on Africa, and inspired the world as a great queen. But we used her day at that time to award outstanding brethren and sisters and child children who had done well. So we continue that tradition of using Her Majesty's Day where we bring the family together and we talk about her outstanding role as a queen of queens, the only queen that was crowned the same day with a king. We observe that because never before, never after. And as His Majesty said, she was titled Queen of Queens. Zartu was Queen of Kings, but she was Queen of Queens. And there was never another queen in Ethiopia that was crowned and even to receive that title, Queen of Queens. So the only Queen of Queens we know in the Ethiopian long line of kings and queens going up to King Ori 4475 BC is Her Imperial Majesty Empress. Empress. Empress Menen Asfaw. Give her a nice round of applause. And I man always say, how did Tafari, Makanen, Negus Tafari, how did Haile Selassie the first get to break thousands of years of tradition? How did that happen? Because there were venerable priests from way back when, where you can't budge them, Just like in the big order, as young brethren, we couldn't change the tradition of the elders. They were firm in their resolve and feel so whatever they laid down, it in granite stone. So can you imagine those priests who were skeptic about Haile Selassie the first bringing airplane into Ethiopia? Where is he going with that devil instrument? That was how he was viewed in traditional Ethiopia. Them feel say we if we go on with camel back and ass back and mule back. Where is he going with the iron bird? Worse when them come them see a little white pilot fly in a plane. Oh gosh, them become so skeptic of what Haile Selassie the first was about. Yeah? Because he was the first crown prince to fly away in an iron bird, you know. Because the prince in Ethiopia is protected even more than the king because he represents the future. So if they were skeptic about him changing certain things, they were skeptic about him bringing back printing presses to Ethiopia in 1924 in his first travel as regent. He brought back printing presses and started reprint the Fatanagas, the Kebranagas. Who dare him to touch these holy books? How these holy books are going to be reprinted? So His Majesty with all his humility. Because someone will have said, I don't make a dunce, yeah. Them just have try usurp things. No, His Majesty didn't approach it that way. His Majesty called a meeting with the priests, the clergy, and said, all right, I see the skeptic about me copying the sacred Kabanagas and the Fatinagas. All right, we're going to print a copy of the Fatinagas, and we will have the original copy, and we're going to read them line by line. So he had one priest read the original and one priest read the copy. The words remain one and the same. So you see how His Majesty just humble himself and just bring them to simple logics and they all agree. When them say the airplane are important to Ethiopia, His Majesty say, all right, 200 of them. All right, tomorrow we have an exercise. We want to send our priests over to Harar. How long is the journey on horseback to Harar and back? Weeks, Your Majesty. And say, all right, so we're going to send Abba over to Harar and have him return to us with another priest from Harar. It's happening at hours. When they look them to the priest from Harar, come out of the airplane with the priest who them said. Now they realize that in couple hours, a flight could be made to Harar and bring the priest back safely. Then they realize that Tafara is smart, you know. This is a step in the right direction. So one priest even said at the meeting, you know, when we examine Tafari, we see that he's doing all good in the interest of Ethiopia. We must remember that when our lady Saba, Sheba went to Jerusalem, his predecessor Solomon sent her back to Ethiopia on an instrument that flew upon the wings of the wind. So you can see Tafari is acting in the best interest within the Solomonic tradition. And the priests them agree that yes, this year plane was good. But here comes the king now, Haile Selassie the first, has said to the clergy, his queen is proposing that his queen should be crowned the same day when he will be crowned. Round the back is saying them can't hear the microphone, and I think I have amplified my voice to the highest. So we are asking ones to come up because we don't have a speaker box that can project out to the back. And there are still chairs here, so you know if I even run left the shop for a minute. If you have the interest, yeah? So when Her Majesty brought this meeting together, to get the Empress crowned on the same day of its coronation, can you imagine some hard and tough priests may say, that will never happen under my watch? So there was opposition. And I am yet to find a book that speaks to what happened in that consultation meeting with Haile Selassie I and the clergy. The best part of it is that they finally agreed that on November 2nd, 1930, the first queen to be crowned on the day of the emperor will be Her Imperial Majesty Empress Menen Asfaw. So let me give her a nice round of So it make me sit in our right a verse of the chant we say. And she was crowned the King of Kings. And she was crowned the Lord of Lords. I see the conquering lion of Judah. Her day it has come. So we give thanks to her, we give thanks to His Majesty who made it happen that she was crowned on November 2nd, 1930. And one aspect of the coronation we want to remember that the Abuna Crilius, when he took the crown from the keeper of the royal treasury, he gave it to the emperor. Normally, the king would crown his queen. Now, Michael said, no, look back and turn back. As you turn back, son, it feed. After I look so, all right. So when he gave it to the king, it was a tradition that the king crowned the queen. And it wouldn't happen the same day, but if it happened next week, it would have been the king who placed the crown on his queen's head. So when he gave the crown to His Majesty took the crown, and in solemnity he bowed his head. We know his meditation and prayer now. But the emperor said to the Abu that as I have been blessed to receive from your hands this crown, I ask you, your holiness, to place this crown on her head. So, are you crown me? You have a crown her. You have a crown me? You crown me? You will put the crown on her head. So here then, Abuna Crilius went over to the Empress's throne and placed the crown upon her head. And with sacred words, made this crown be a crown of piety, wisdom, and intelligence. And he placed the crown upon her head. And the women of Ethiopia rejoiced, and there was a strong ululation. How it sound? Not one Ethiopian woman did that. How did it sound for the Empress? Come on, let me hear how it sound when the crown was placed upon her head. Alright. After three, everyone, let me hear the nice ululation there. Alright, let me amplify your voice. I'm sure you don't mind. There went up a ululation from the women of Ethiopia that rippled through the city of Addis Ababa for miles. Yes, the women of Ethiopia rejoice. So we give thanks to Her Majesty. She remained in the annals of our history as a great queen of queens. We remember her work, on behalf of the young princesses, the young daughters in Ethiopia. She was against a tradition that had young girls marrying too early. And His Majesty was angry about it. Because when he saw that there were intelligent young princesses, young girls in Ethiopia, who should have advanced in education, when he questioned, so what happened to Tananya? Oh, she's pregnant, Your Majesty, so she stopped school. His Majesty did vex about that. Because he said, as long as the young girls are going to get pregnant too early, it means their advancement in academic just like Her Majesty never liked. So when she established the Empress Menen School for the girls, she set a level of discipline among the students at the school, and she fought to raise that age from the early under 11 come right up and bring it up to 16. But when a young girl knew that it was holidays, she never leaves school to go back to the village, to stay with family, She stay at the school because she knows that her parents are waiting for she come home for them marry her off to a rich man. So them not go home. And when they would have been seen by the parents in this, the parents should tell anyone who question her that she goes to Her Majesty's school. Once the mayor say His Majesty, Her Majesty's school, them go bother mess around with her. Every man afraid to touch one of Her Majesty's student because they know she was hungry. So we give thanks to Her Majesty. We give thanks for our role that she played with His Majesty. His Majesty said, apart from goodness, there was no guile or malice found in her. So we salute Her Majesty on this her day, 135, being born 25th of Megabeth, 3rd of April, 1891. So we give thanks. Again, give Her Majesty a rousing applause, outstanding contribution to Ethiopia, to Africa, and to the world. So we will move on with the program because we recognize that we started a bit late. So we will call forward another sister who has taken on the mantle in Jamrock for many moons, many years. We have known her on the battlefield. And when we see her linked now with the ancient lineage, the ancient history of the Maroons, and became recognized as the representation of Queen Nanny, we say, wow, Mama G, representing us all at the United Nations. So, royally welcome, our Rastafari Nanny of the Maroons, Rastafari.
Yes, I give thanks, to be here in Mobe, the man Hill of Iron Station original. And I and G Iron from them days until now. Mobe has always been my place. Yes, I'm Mama G is here, you know. Every time I read Haile Selassie the first, an Empress Menen. Yeah, man. King of Kings, Lord of Lords, and conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, elect of himself. We give thanks for us being here to this great king, one of the greatest king that walk upon earth. There were many kings, but His Majesty, in His divinity, outdo them all. Prophecy was fulfilled. Empress Menen is someone that every time I read upon her and study her, I am, without words, to know that a woman like her walk upon this earth as an exemplary one. Many of the queens within battle go to the battlefront, like Empress died too. But Her Majesty, she went on the battlefield with compassion. She was kind. She helped the wounded ones. She didn't go out fighting. She was in the background, healing those that were wounded, taking care of families, taking care of wives that lose their husband in the battle. That was her work, taking care of the children. In her own timing, being someone who married very young, she addressed, as Brother Ivi just tell us, she addressed the fact that put schools in place, there was more than one school for girls, Empress Menen School for girls. So she could educate women, educate girls, because she knows that when you educate a woman, a girl, you educate the whole nation. And she lived that as an exemplary one. Henceforth, you see what it is with Ethiopia today, because the women were put aside to be educated. You know, there were emphasis placed on that by Her Majesty. You know, she was not one who was at the front of political issues. She was always in the background. To His Majesty, she was his main advisor. You know, she would give sound advice to him. Like, for instance, during the battle when they saw what was happening, they decided to go into exile. And it was Her Imperial Majesty who went ahead of His Majesty, you know, to sort out place and location, you know, because we all know the old saying, you fight and run away, sometime you live to fight another day. Sometimes you have to go aside to plan. My mother would have said you have to be a tactician, you have to have tactics. So sometimes you have to take time out to put your tactics together to overcome. And sometimes time do it for us. You know, so tonight we hail His Imperial Majesty. We hail Empress Menen on the same level because she take over the reign of dealing with the women and the family and the children. And that is what you see is happening in our nation. In Africa, they call that bicameralism type of democracy, as what they call it. You know, governance, we know it as. When the woman and the man is in equal leadership and ruling, the woman taking up her roles and responsibility of playing not just a mother to her family. You know, nowadays we have just reached the stage where all we deal with sometimes is the family we made while we are here. But we have to all remember that when we came here with missions to do. Before we even make family, we have missions. And sometimes we put family that we make along the journey in front of the works. And it seems hard for you to say you have to put the family first. But deep inside of me, many times I just know that it is my works. The works I came on this earth to do. You know? Because even many of us know, even after our best as parents, children, all time people that say if you kill pitney, give mother na nyami. But if you kill mother give pitney we nyami if young. So you know, and we know the whole story of the scorpion. So we have to know that the works is first and foremost. In the evening one of this journey of, of Her Imperial Majesty, there was a time when His Majesty went into Brazil and his own son get together to overthrow him and put his mother under house arrest, you know, their own son. So sometimes the work we're doing supposed to look upon as the most important thing, even though your duty as a woman is to take care of family. But do not forget your works that you came here to do. And you have to balance it with family. I am a grandmother who's growing my grandchildren because my daughter passed away. And I have to balance those works with the grandchildren, 3 girls, with my work to get it done, you know? Just at a time when I step off and say, well, I'm going to step into some real work now and move over into the Maroon village from out of Kingston, Rockford here where I was. As I came in over there, less than a month, my daughter passed away, and I had us to take the children on. The smallest one was a year and 6 months. She's now 10 going 11. And she's cooking and doing her thing now. And I had was to balance it right after the 9 nights of her. I had was to go into the conference that year. And I had a delegation and a panelist that was here from America and Trinidad that I had a round table talk I had to do in the conference. And I had to balance myself and do it. You know? It was hard, it was tough. If I tell you, I go into the conference motionless. I didn't even, it was like I was numb just to work, you know? And when I come out, that's when I would holler, you know, for a while and then move off again because I have the children dealing with. So when I look at Her Majesty works, because many of these works that Her Majesty done was not in great moments. Her Majesty. Majesty know of many, many situations, challenges of life. You know that.
Microphone,
Yeah, that we go through and face sometimes, you know. And tonight I'm here, you know, to really speak word of strength to my sister and love, you know, because looking back at times and even in these times, the things we face as sisters, the position we hold sometimes. Sometimes we are all in the old rain in the background there. And you know, we don't have no time for ego. We don't have no time to make everybody know what we're doing. We just do it. Because it's more practical sometimes than talking. You know, we have no time to talk. And I have to really shout out tonight love, strength, and blessings to my sisters, especially my Rastafari sisters. I tried it many years. As a year, Bonga I tell you that I am a Nyabingi. I started out studying Nyabingi in a serious way, you know, leaving 9 to 5 job as a single mother. And decide, say, boy, you know, me I take on this school, you know, me not gonna have to with this, you know. I'm going to it. Yeah, man. When His Majesty found me, I was working in a bar. And it was in there they started to call me African. And I continued the journey. Never looking back. Go through many trials, many tribulations, which I look back now, and as His Majesty said, what life experience has taught unto me. I will now teach to those who want to learn. Sometimes the experience is hard, it's rough, it's humiliating, but it is it that builds you. It is it that teaches you. And Her Majesty has been through many trials with His Majesty. Many ups and downs. They lose children, all kind of things. You know, even though she was they were both sovereign beings. They have their equal portion of life, but they stand strong. His Majesty being an exemplary king has left a pathway, has left a life and works. Is Her Majesty the same way? When you look through history, even amongst all the queens at their greatest, she's the only one you see they speak of about compassion, kindness, looking out for her people, charity, building many schools and churches with her own money, giving up her crown. You know, something that most of us wouldn't do. Give up her crown, you know, into charity. She was patron of many, 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 many organizations. charity organization that help in the background. His Majesty could concentrate on the general politics while she deal with family and community and school and try to address. She use even her own money to do things. What a woman. What a queen. What an example we have to follow. People talk about role model. When you feel weak, when you feel like you can't make it, when life faces you in many ways, look at Her Majesty. Look at the life. Look at her countenance in her picture. Look at her. As His Majesty said, there is no guile in her. She always looks so neither serious nor smart nor overjoyed. She just balanced with a face and a countenance that you don't see in many queens. She was who she is and still is, that divine feminine woman, mother at the eyes. Many of us sometimes go astray because we say we don't have any example or no one to follow, or we are weak and there's no one to talk to or to see. Look at Her Majesty, who we are entitled as heir to her throne, and be strong and go on with dignity, with pride, even when you are accused, but you know that your conscience set you free. You know that you're living inside and outside. You know that your deeds and your works can judge you. So you stand on your truth and your foundation and look at your queen and your king who live life of example. Leave example for us to follow, dates and things that they've done. Not a long time ago, you know. Not talking about someone who you can put a face to, you know. We can put a face to it. We can look at his picture and our walls. His real picture and see ourselves in it. We can see that we are made from that image. You know, there's so much stories that they told us. So much things to lead us astray and to confuse us in this time. Another great thing of Her Imperial Majesty was she loved peace in such a way. She speak of it and she said women are the one who suffer in war. She didn't like war. And in this time, for us to be here, in a time like now, Nadisama Gideon. Hey, Mama Gideon. Nadisama Gideon. Look at the time we're in now. For us to be here gathered in Her Majesty's name, who didn't like war tonight. He said, Mama, surround us with your peace and your love and your compassion and your kindness. Let us be like you tonight. This is our words and our wish and our desire. We declare and we decree that we shall be like you. Haile Selassie and Empress Menen. Give thanks.
mother and father of creation. Yeah, man, give Mama G a nice rousing applause. Yes, Rastafari. We give thanks and those solid words by our beloved Empress. We do give thanks. Give thanks for those words, Mama G. And I know these words will resonate in the hearts and minds of all the sisters gathered here. Let us walk as children of light in the light of her imperial majesty. We're moving on, and says our sisters line up. Enough time we see all the males in the lineup. So we will call forward a sister who came all the way from Clarendon to be here. Very skilled in her poetic skills, and we're gonna call forward Sister Charmaine Aita. Charmaine Aita. Rastafari. And the applause could have bigger, the applause could have bigger, of course.
Greetings, brethren and sisters. Greetings, galore. It's always a pleasure. Really, always a pleasure for me to face the audience. I love my people, and I love to recite for you guys. Honestly, I love you folks. I love you. Give thanks. I want to start out by saying a point called Woman Crisis. Because when I tell you, woman always go through the crisis, I mean, sometimes I wonder if some of them understand how serious the crisis is. But I think most of them understand. So we give them the vibes, yeah? So here's the point, woman crisis. Woman crisis. What is this? We them a turn and twist. We have to rise and resist. We exist in a woman crisis. Come here, missus. Are we them a this? I miss them a miss. Are we are the head for this? We have to exist in a woman crisis. Woman. W is for woman. The mother of creation. O is for over. They must push us over, yet we shall overcome. M is for man. We received, conceived, and delivered them all. A is for answer. We have the answers to remedy this one crisis. N is for now. Let's not stay behind to be led constantly by the blinds. Woman crisis. Yes, woman crisis. All women rise, resist, and exit the crisis that exists on this journey, and don't take this. Okay, now, my brethren and sisters, now here's what happened now. Say, we just thought about writing a new poem, and I wrote a poem recently, but it's called A Praise to Empress Menen. Hail, Empress Menen, original mother of all creation, first queen and sovereign spirit of this land. You are the crowned empress, honored and spoken of with pride through generations. You have upheld the trumpet of good over evil, laying the sacred foundations from the beginning of time. From generation to generation, your name shall be called blessed. You have nourished us with knowledge, feeding our minds and souls. For this we give thanks daily for our bread, both seen and unseen. You are the embodiment of beauty and compassion, a radiant force across the heaven and the earth. Your glory is revealed to those who have eyes to see and hearts open to understand. For health, for strength, and daily substance, we lift our voices in praise of your name. O great Mother and Father of all creation, perfect in all aspects, present in all things. To the wisdom, you have bestowed, we walk this journey step by step, guided by your light. With gratitude and reverence, we celebrate this day in your honor. And as we continue to live by your teachings, we shall let our light shine brightly so that all may see our works and glorify your name. Alpha and Omega, eternal source of all that is. I don't know if you want to hear me anymore. I want to make a poem called Africa. I always like to say it, because I know the dream that I have for Africa is going to be a reality. Africa, oh Africa, my prayer for you is ever thirsty. Today, questions of you I am asking. Your task is long, sometimes seems disgusting, but with freedom, Africa shall be rewarded. Yes, forever rewarded. Even if they paint the streets thick as mud with black people's blood, with freedom, the streets of Africa shall surely flood. Love you each and every one. I don't know if I cut short, but this is it for tonight. Thank you so very much because I want really hard to say me come say something too. Love you, love you, love you, love you, running over. Love you all the time, especially my husband.
Yes, Sister Charmaine. Put that together for Sister Charmaine. Yes, and like what I said, we have a lineup of sisters. So, Sister Amanda, I hope you're not too far. And we have Sister Bogdan. Sister Amanda, where are you? But tonight, blessing up Anna Empress, want to make it. You know, the man we say, lady in the 14th coming. Well, it's now half past. Sister Amanda is a warrior, we shoot many arrows and many bullets. And she wants some artillery. So, put your hands together and welcome Sister Amanda. Happy Rastafari.
You know, I just take a walk down there, so I'm say, probably more than 50, 60 Rasta man woman in the back right there, so. Now, having them one little fellowship. Yeah. And we have one invite to be here at Root House on behalf of Her Majesty. We agree that our system don't project as far as to the back. And it seems that when Rasta have things, we have to ensure, say, audio is up, that we're not in an auditorium or so. We're in an open space. And when I walk down to the forward, there's a mount of Rastas down here have nothing to do with what is happening here. And that's not good. That's not good. We are here for Her Majesty. I'm say if we bring credits right now on the microphone, all I want down there so I'll forget to them and start. No, this is not good at all, brethren and sister. But we come together, family. That's why we are here. Let's come together. So, my sister, it's your turn. Sister Amanda, Rastafari, give thanks.
Give thanks and praises to the Most High, for Haile Selassie. And I give thanks for this day, Empress Menen celebration. And to give thanks again. Black woman rise up, works to be done. Black woman rise up, we have many daughters and sons. Black woman rise up, without you there's no fulfillment. You gave us birth, you gave us birth, you gave us everything. Black woman, rise up, our future is struggling. Black woman, rise up, blood is running in the streets. Black woman, rise up, without you our people will perish. You're the first teacher and the first nurse. Black woman, rise up, you are the mother